There's a piece of advice that I see offered quite a lot, especially in the sort of modern D&D sphere. I think it comes from a good place, but I disagree with it, and I want to explain why. First of all, this piece of advice is highlight your players. I saw this recently in someone's TikTok, DM tips, TikTok. They said, hey, your monk gains deflect arrows. You should throw archers at them to make them shine, highlight them, make your players feel awesome. And look, it sounds great, and I sure am coming across as the evilly Grinch GM who, how dare you not want to highlight your characters, your players? What's the matter with you? But here's where I'm coming from. Sip of coffee for the working man. I come from the impartial referee school. I want my players to succeed. Of course I do. But I'm not helping them. I want my party to have those highlights, make those amazing plays, if you will, to use a sports analogy, have those great moments. And I will facilitate them insofar as I can while remaining impartial, doing things like being open to the possibilities, allowing them chances, something that comes up in various rule books. Hey, give them a chance. Might be a small chance, but give them a chance. And when they hit that small chance, boom, fireworks. All amazing. But what I don't want to get in the habit of is being perceived as the person who's responsible for success. I've talked about this before in terms of fun. I'm not responsible for fun. The game, us as a group, all of these things put together, if we're all doing the things we want to do, we're all doing things the right way, and we all enjoy the game, then we'll have fun. The fun will come. It's not me to shape fun. By the same token, it's not for me to highlight your abilities. This is you as the player. Hey, you want to go out there, monk, you've got deflect arrows, then go find some enemies with archers, or just wait until you come up with some archers and then go to work, deflect away. I don't feel like that's my job, and I don't want the perception to be among the players that it's my job. Because here where you run down that slippery slope where you end up, and we see this all the time, or at least I do, Twitter, Reddit, various forums, players being upset that they're not being spotlit, they're not being highlighted, that the GM is not doing these things to make them feel special. It's not my job to make your character feel special. Player, go out there, do things with your character, take actions. Those actions will make you feel special. You got some new ability, you got a new spell, great, use it. Go out there, go forth. Me as the referee, I'm going to facilitate it because given the kind of worlds that I run, which tend to be sandboxes, give the players a lot of room, pretty much the whole continent, if they so choose, to roam and find the challenges they want to. I'm not going to stand in your way. Hey, monk, you've got deflect arrows and you want to go find some evil archers? I'll figure out where on the map there's some evil archers. I'm not going to take archers away. I'm not going to do the opposite. Oh, you've got deflect arrows? No more archers in the game. No, of course not. But I'm not going to bend the world to fit your piece. I think maybe that's ultimately where I draw the line in terms of things that I think, at least for the kind of games that I run, are the sort of DM behaviors that I want to commit to. The world doesn't bend to the party. Just because you picked up ability X doesn't suddenly mean we're going to start running into enemies who are vulnerable to ability X. It also doesn't mean you're going to run into enemies that are immune to ability X. For the most part, I don't want to know your player abilities. That way, I can't prejudge. Because I do think you can end up in the back of your mind where you say as a GM, I want to present a challenge. And then you look at your character sheets, your player character sheets, and you say, uh-oh, deflect arrows. Okay, that's going to lessen the challenge. I don't want it to be easy because they've got deflect arrows, so I'm going to do something to get rid of that. Oh, they're not going to do deflect arrows, so they're going to have wands of magic missiles. Or, I'm going to make up some reason why deflect arrows is less efficient in this case, or why it doesn't work right. I'm not going to do any of that. I would rather not know. That way, when it comes up, ooh, deflect arrows, bam, bam. I'm like, wow, man, good call. Good call on the deflect arrows. And that makes a great moment. The Shining, whoa, before you go run to the Overlook Hotel, not that kind of Shining. They get shown upon, and it comes from them. It's not from me. I'm not doling these out like candies. I'm not in a superior position to them. Sure, I create the world, but I always separate that from my refereeing. I kind of put my world buildings on one side, refereeing's on the other side. And then whatever they do, whatever they get, it's on them. I might have to determine the dice, what they need to roll, what mechanic, what percent chance of success, and this is where the impartiality comes in. But the world's the world. It's going to do what it does. And I think from the players, at least it's been my experience in my games, though of course, your miles may vary with your group, with your players, with your kind of setup. But my players know they can do anything. They can take any challenge they want to. I'm not driving them into a place, and then maybe that's where the responsibility shifts. If I'm driving them into a place and I'm pushing them down specific pathways, then it does become more my responsibility to make sure that they can all contribute in that pathway. But from my perspective, if they want to go to the graveyard, they can. If they want to take on this enemy fort, they can. If they want to do something else, they can. For the cleric who wants to turn undead, talk to your party members. Go down into the crypts. You'll have plenty of undead, but then monk, you're probably not going to deflect a bunch of arrows. Take on the enemy fort in some kind of head-on suicide attack. Monk, you're probably going to get a bunch of chance to deflect arrows. Cleric, probably not going to be able to turn much undead. That's kind of the breaks. I'm not going to put a bunch of archers in the crypt where they wouldn't be, and I'm not going to put a bunch of undead in the fort where they wouldn't be, just to try to fulfill some quota, to try to manage spotlighting and highlighting. That's for the players. This is where I put the choices on them. All these things are out there. You choose what to deal with, you choose how to deal with them, and use all of your abilities to the best that you can, to their most effective way that you can think of. That's you. Me, I'll manage the world. And my job is to make sure that the opportunities are there, that I'm not closing things off, that I'm not, for meta reasons, deciding, oh, these undead can't be turned because of reason me, Todd, as the GM want. No, if they're undead, they can be turned. And if I make the big bad guy an undead and the cleric's high enough level to get him and what makes those rolls succeeds, then hey, kudos to the cleric. If I have an archer boss and the monk is just pew, 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 deflecting arrows, good on them. But it's not my job to make that happen from an outside the fiction perspective. That's not how I want to play. And really, as I think about it, as a player, I don't want that either. I don't want my character to shine because the GM flipped a switch. When I've been told that after games, oh, I did this for you because you got this thing, I'm a little bit bummed out because that player agency, it's a little bit impinging upon that because it's no longer my moves. You set this up for me. Oh, you put those guys in a line so I can knock them down. I always think of like the chess match between me and the world and the bad guys and all this stuff if I'm a player. And if I'm doing well, that means that I am succeeding at the chess match. If it turns out that the GM is kind of moving the pieces to give me a path through so I can get to the end, then it's a little disappointing because it's no longer me doing it. It's kind of the GM doing it. And there's a little bit of part of me thinking, well, I'm just kind of along for the ride. And the choices I make don't matter so much because the GM's just going to facilitate. I don't want facilitation as a player. And as a GM, I'm not going to give you facilitation other than the fact is that I'm giving you all your options. That's my kind of game. You're going to get to do what you want. My players come to me and say, we thought we were going to head towards the crypt. We want to change our mind. You know what I tell them is, hey, do what you want to do. Don't worry about me. You guys change your mind, that's fine. You guys want to do this? You want to do it this way? Hey, it's all good to me. I tell them that all the time. Whatever you guys choose, it's all good for me. It's the players making the choices. Hopefully, if they have choices with their characters, they're picking them to help do the things that they want to do. And it's not about me being a highlighter, spotlighter, facilitator. I just get to run the world, which I really think is ultimately the referee's job. Run the world, adjudicate decisions. The players take care of their stuff. If we're all doing it and we're all on the same page, it will be fun. I don't think you need to take on that role of, I'm going to choose you today to be in the center square. I think there's a little bit of a slippery slope there. It's not something I choose to do. What do you do? Let me know. I'm going to enjoy this coffee. Talk to you later.